James Cook got paid. Who else is going to get paid, including a massive group of guys for next year? We got a lot to break down here today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Krabs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now.
Joe, happy Wednesday to you here on the program. And a very happy Wednesday to the 5 NFL franchises deemed the most valuable per Sportico's annual NFL valuations. Have you seen the list?
I haven't, but I assume Dallas is number one.
Dallas, $12.8 billion. With a B.
Yeah.
The LA Rams, 10.43. The New York Giants at 10.25. Imagine if the Giants were like good.
Yeah.
The Patriots at 8.76, and then the San Francisco 49ers at 8.6. The greatest football team in South Florida is 7th.
Wow.
As well.
Very good.
I was figuring how narrow of a scope I wanted to paint.
Yeah.
It's the fight song is the greatest football team. And
I'm familiar with it.
How narrow do we get with the greatest football?
What's the cheapest one? What's if I had a few bucks? Yeah.
I don't know that I have this readily available, but I could probably get it to you after the break.
There's no full list. Oh, after the break.
I have to go Google it. Like I'm not prepared to go Google it. But I know
I have it right here. It took me 3 seconds. The Bengals, $5.5 billion. Dead last. The Jaguars, 5.57. The Saints, 5.63. Your bottom three. Speaking of,
you might have a little bit of coin laying around to maybe buy some equity in the team these days. James Cook.
You might have a few extra dollars that finally there's a resolution here, right?
We veered back on track.
Well, I was wondering how we're going to get there. Yeah.
Yeah, this was a long fought negotiation. And at the end of the day, it's a 4-year, $48 million contract extension for James Cook on top of the 1 year and $5 million and change after playtime adjustments on the last year of his rookie contract.
Yes.
So it's 5 years of player control for about $53 million in total value of contract. When you put the new money and the new years on top of the pre-existing rookie contract. And I walk away from this and I wonder what, and I know there's a compromise we're going to talk about as far as the structure of the money.
Mm-hmm.
From a total value perspective, I don't feel like James Cook achieved anything.
Probably not.
Kyren Williams gets done.
Yeah.
Like that gives you a benchmark to clear to make you feel good about the running backs that signed this year. And that's probably it, right? Like,
I agree with that. Yeah. I think in terms of total value of the contract, it didn't really make my eyes pop. The win for James Cook's the guaranteed money. He gets $30 million guaranteed, which is the third most of any running back in the NFL. Number one is, of course, Saquon Barkley, who has $36 million guaranteed. Then you have Ashton Genty on his fully guaranteed rookie deal, 35.89. And then it's James Cook at 30. And then you have to go to Derrick Henry at number 4 at 24 million. So the big win for James Cook is that piece of it, because from an APY perspective, we know he came out and told us he wanted 15 million back in February on that Instagram Live when he posted that pinned comment, and then he reinforced it a few other times.
Well, and then Saquon got extended, right? And it was, what was it, the dollar signs or the eyeball emojis or whatever came out when 20, that happened, right?
Yeah, 20 became part of that conversation. And then he does what he can, right? It's a negotiation. You start high, right? You're not going to come in and lowball yourself. He tried to get what he could and sat out all the voluntary things. He starts camp and does all the things he's supposed to do, and then he starts to hold in to force the issue, and this is where we land. But I think that $30 million guaranteed is, for James Cook, what is the big win for him.
Yeah, the two contracts that clear that. Did you specify which ones those were?
Saquon Barkley and Ashton Genty, yes.
Yeah. So Genty obviously would be fully guaranteed, and you could, in theory, if you want to include the 5th-year option on that, that becomes fully guaranteed. I mean, that would become the highest guarantees when it's all said and done, but you don't make that decision for 3 years at this point. So I think for James, if 20 was the most ambitious ask, and he gets 60% of that because it's at 12 APY, and you're looking at probably the best case scenario for James Cook from a utilization standpoint, from a snap share perspective, is 55, 60% of the snaps is probably about where you expect he is, right?
Yeah, and I expect that to continue.
And I think that math makes it make sense as well, right? Like where we want to give you appropriate value relative to when you're on the field, but the biggest battle for James Cook, in my opinion, has always been where you're used, where you're not, where you win, and where, like, unless you absolutely catch lightning in a bottle, it's just not going to be a strength of your game. And that doesn't make you any less of a good player at what you do well, but good coaches and good teams put players in the positions to be successful and don't put them in positions where they're not successful.
He's, at the end of the day, he's a 5'11", 190, 195 pound back, right? So in addition to just having some limitations in pass protection, in order to optimize him for the duration of the season, I think you have to be mindful of the workload. And so the 75, the snap percentage was an interesting layer of the contract negotiation, and why it didn't make sense for him to push that 15 mark or 20. That's where that became unreasonable to me. It's fine for what James Cook is, and relative to this Bills offense where they get 3 backs going, but I don't suddenly look at this now as James Cook's a paid running back and he's now a 75% of the snaps player. I don't think that's good for James Cook. I don't think that's good for the Bills offense. And it's not good for the Bills offense when they need it to be at its best, which is January in the postseason.
Right. So that's how I think you can. The expectation of the role from the player side of things shouldn't change either.
Right.
Because of where the value versus the ask. And I think there feels like there is a mutual understanding. And I'm glad the messaging I had with A to Z on this was, I'm glad common sense and cooler heads prevail. And nobody, like, James has had big aspirations, but we didn't go too far. And you and I talked in the pre-show yesterday when he practiced yesterday. It was one of two things, right? Like, you're either not getting a deal or a deal is on the way.
Right.
And now we know a deal is done and signed as of this morning for James Cook. They already got the graphic out there with him and the nice looking shades and the signed graphic, and it's done. So now everybody can kind of close this book and move on. And a nice assist to Kyren Williams, who I'm surprised Kyren Williams got done as we kind of start to open this conversation to other running backs. He obviously signed before James Cook, but Kyren was the one who watched the Rams draft multiple a round 3 back and a round 4 back in consecutive draft classes, as a guy who is very much like James Cook in he has what he does well. I think he has a more well-rounded skill set to be on the field more, and that's led to more carries and more opportunities, but he's not as prolific and as home run explosive, and it feels like the Rams have been looking for that complement to him in the same way that the Bills were with Ray Davis. Yeah. So these two, I don't want to say beat the buzzer contracts, because we probably have another couple weeks before business is technically done, but these two getting done, and Kyren Williams deserves an assist for where James Cook ultimately landed, I think.
And I think one of the big difference in those deals is the 4th year for the Bills with James Cook. They always want that extra year because that gives them a little bit more wiggle room to be flexible with the deal. And I think that's a notable, contrast and, different types of players. But yeah, similar type situations, both get done. But there's a couple of other guys that might want to get done, but those are some complicated situations. We're going to talk about that. There's some big RB names for next offseason. And oh, by the way, we got smelling salts. That's all coming up next. Be sure to stick with us. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL preseason predictions. So whether you're calling your shot at MVB, you're eyeing the division winners, you're ready to crown a Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is going to be your moment. So take a flyer on the MVP race. Maybe you think Josh Allen repeats. Maybe it's Baker Mayfield's turn. You can crown your champion. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Do the Eagles go back to the back? Is it the Chiefs? Do the Ravens break through? Do the Bills break through? How about division winners? Maybe you have a hunch on who's going to win the NFC West. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game.
No love for the Dolphins on that ad read? Just say no. It's okay. Just say no. It's okay.
I didn't have any love. If you think the Dolphins can win the East,
plus 700 to win the East this year,
this is your moment. August 26th, FanDuel Futures Day. You get in on the action.
This is our moment. I do have bad news. I don't have the matching salts as you do. They canceled my order, so I don't have the snowman one.
Oh, boy.
So I had to find. This is. It's got a skull on it. It's supposed to be like all ominous. I guess you got the mean looking snowman. So this came out. This bit started for us. Was it last week? Was it only last week? Feels like it was 2 weeks.
Yeah, we finally got in on the smelling salts conversation. I think it was courtesy of a Takes on Take, maybe?
Right. Yeah, where the league bans it, but then they didn't ban it. They just banned the teams from assembling or distributing them. And Marlon Humphrey bought $1,000 worth of smelling salts on Amazon. So we said, yeah, let's do that too. Let's see what the fuss is all about. I'm a little intimidated by this label.
Yeah, I am. I'm very intimidated, Kyle.
I mean, the instructions, it says 3 times, be careful. These are in all caps, very strong. Be careful, as this can go from 0 to 100 in literally a sniff. That's on the labeling. So that's how you know this is not FDA approved, because it says literally in a sniff on the instructions for the warnings.
So we're dumb enough to do this right now in this podcast.
Yeah,
and neither one of us we've never done smelling salts.
No, and I haven't opened the packaging on the top. I have to.
I'm not
just so this is an authentic bit here.
Yeah,
I'm going to take the top off. It says at least 6 inches away from your face.
Yeah, same here, boy.
So we're going to get real hype for the last 18, 20 minutes of this podcast and the rest of our day.
The seal here too, guys.
Okay, I got this
is gross looking. Oh man.
What's it look like?
It looks disgusting is what it looks like.
All right, 6 inches away from
I want to keep this 2 feet away from my face. Holy smokes.
3, 2, 1. Oh, woke me up.
Oh, I didn't go strong enough the first time.
Well, then I'm glad you went back and doubled it. You know what it feels like when you're in the ocean and the salt water actually accidentally, like the wave washes up on your face and you accidentally get the salt water that comes up and through your nasal. That's what it felt like. But it does give you a nice kick. So I'm awake. Let's talk to these running backs.
It's about some running backs. Boy, I went soft in the first one. I'm like, I don't think I did it. And then I went back and we're here. We're here for sure.
Some names. Right. Jaylen Warren, Travis Etienne, Najee Harris, Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall. You getting excited yet?
No. Rashad White, Tyler Algier, Jahmyr White, Damian Pierce, Isaiah Pacheco. I kind of feel like the boxes are checked for running backs that are going to get these extensions right now.
Yeah, if you ask me, does anybody else get a contract extension done between now, like of the prominent names at running back, and the start of the regular season? My answer is no. Where the Jets kind of feels like they indirectly teased with Breece Hall where they're going, right? That they don't necessarily plan on getting that one done.
Right.
Kenneth Walker seems to always be battling through something. He hasn't missed a ton of time. I know he had the IR stint at the end of the year last year, but I wouldn't be in a big, eager effort if I'm Seattle, where I just tore my entire offensive infrastructure to shreds. The coach isn't the coach that brought in Kenneth Walker in the first place. There's been some lingering, all lower body stuff. There was like the ankle last year. There's been a couple of obliques. He had a hernia. It just little odds and ends that it's never really been. And right now it's foot soreness. Like he's on like a management plan for training camp this year as a 26-year-old running back in a contract year. Not a great start, right? Like I'm in no rush to pay that.
I agree with you. But if you're Ken Walker, aren't you saying to yourself right now, well, I've got more rushing touchdowns than James Cook. I've got 90 less rushing yards than James Cook. I've got more catches than James Cook. That's probably what you're saying, right?
It is what you're saying, but unfortunately, the team should have no appetite to do it.
I agree with you, but I will say this. I'm excited about the offensive infrastructure for Ken Walker and this zone-based offense and the home runs that can be there. Like he can go out and have a monster year and put himself in a position to get something from Seattle, get something from someone else, play a year on the tag. So there's definitely health concerns here, but if he can be healthy this year and put up the numbers that this scheme can unlock, maybe it would behoove him to wait anyways.
I think that's where his best opportunity comes. How about Travis Etienne?
It's been a journey, man.
Not getting a contract with Jacksonville, I certainly think, with their investments in running back, where what they added 2 in the draft this year with Tootin and LaQuinn Allen to go with Tank Bigsby. Do you feel like he's a trade candidate at all?
100%, yeah.
Should the Dallas Cowboys be calling here?
Yes. Yes, they should be calling about him and Breece Hall.
Literally getting ready to roll with Javonte Williams right now is the RB1 through 3 weeks of training camp in Dallas. Like, yeah, I'd call.
100%.
I would call.
Yep. I don't think there's a lot of big time names right now. I think it's wait and see on a lot of these guys. Even you mentioned Breece Hall already. I mean, that's changed very, very quickly. Isaiah Pacheco, that's changed very, very quickly. I think that these players, a lot of these guys that are left, need this year to validate kind of where their career is going to go and what the reasonable amount of money is going to be.
Let me ask you this. Which one of these do you feel like is the most attractive? Like, which would you be most receptive to paying a large sum of money to?
Kyle, I don't love any of these names. I think these are more specialized players. Like I like Rashad White in a complimentary role. I like Tyler Algier in a complimentary role. I like Brian Robinson in a complimentary role.
I was going to say Brian Robinson in the non-sexy, like early down.
What's the market for that? Is that like the Chuba Hubbard contract? Like, what do we point to as our parallel? David Montgomery and what he got. Now you're paying like $8-9 million a year for this complimentary back. I'd rather just draft that. It's tricky, man.
So what's your price then? Like if the Jets re-sign Breece Hall or Seattle re-signs Kenneth Walker, what's a price point that you say, hey, that's pretty good? Because it's certainly not in the Kyren Williams 11, James Cook 12 market. Is it 7? Is it 9? Is it like, and that's kind of the strike zone for me, where if these guys kind of end up having good seasons.
Yeah, I think it's like a 2-year, $16 million contract worth up to $20 million. And they could take it or leave it. But would you rather just draft that player, that next player? Some of the durability issues, consistency issues, allocation of cap comes a little tricky. So I think a lot of these situations with other running backs that might be hopeful for a new deal, they're really tricky. But when you peek ahead at next offseason, we have some things to unpack, some heavy hitters. We'll break that down for you here next, folks. Be sure to stick with us. This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. Fantasy football is back. Fire up the group chat. Get your draft board ready and buckle up for a season filled with breakouts, busts, and all the overreactions we live for. It's all going down on Yahoo Fantasy. This year I'm playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league. I've used Yahoo Fantasy for years, and I love how smooth the draft day experience is. Our league's been running through Yahoo for a while now. It's easy to set it up. The mobile app is awesome, and I love the smack talk on the message boards. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days throughout August. To kick it off, they just dropped Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues, a killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week until there's one team left standing. With the season right around the corner, now is the time to get your league together and give this new mode a try. If you're more into the classics, you can still play in head-to-head private leagues or join a public league. Stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL.
All right. Where Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Devin Achane, where do you want to start?
Well, I think that's where you start. You acknowledge the names, and we have some big-time production from this 2023 class. And you start to think about where this running back market is headed, and you have some dudes here that can really push the top of this market. And I think as we start to think about what those contracts look like from like a Kyren Williams, James Cook perspective, go to get these deals done now, because that's going to push the top of this market. Those guys, I would assume at least two of them, probably all three, can get more than what James Cook and Kyren Williams just got. And now all of a sudden those guys are going to be the 10th and 11th paid running backs in the NFL when we fast forward 1 year, potentially. Because I don't think if those three guys go out and have the years that you think they're going to this year, they got to get a deal done before next season, I would think.
Right. Well, and that's the benefit for these guys too, as far as versus the Cook and Kyren Williams figures, is the cap going up and continuing to go up. And you measured I think a better measure of this is percentage of cap. But right now it's Jacobs and James Cook are tied for 6th. So Bijan Robinson, I would expect to be up in the Christian McCaffrey territory. I mean, from a percentage of cap perspective, he probably has a better chance, a pretty good argument for the Saquon Barkley contract. Yeah. But the challenge with Saquon, right, is he signed the contract in Philly, and then this year got an extension that packed 2 new years on top of what he already had. So it was only a 2-year extension to get up over 20 like that.
Yeah.
So
it's a roundabout way to get there for sure.
Right. I think you're still looking for that first authentic $20 million, not to diminish the Saquon Barkley contract, but it was, 12 per?
He's coming off of 1,900 yards and 15 touchdowns, 365 touches. I mean, I kind of think he's going to have a similar type year this year, maybe even a little bit more. I mean, we're talking 1,900 yards and 15 touchdowns back-to-back years. A drafted player in the top 10 that turns 24 in January. Kyle, come on, man. You're talking about paying for future production. This is
right.
Probably the premier guy.
Well, Jahmyr Gibbs is gonna.
I know.
You had me until you said the premier guy.
Well, what's that staring contest going to look like? Who's going first? Because Gibbs, to your point, 1,900 yards and 20 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, and the hard part for Gibbs is Detroit's giving out all these contracts.
Oh, dude,
right?
That's a show, Kyle. Branch, Campbell, Hutch, this dude, Gibbs.
They've already given out Goff, Sewell, Ali McNeil, Kirby Joseph. Didn't Taylor Decker just get an extension or he's within the last year? They've
Ali
done
McNeil's got big money.
Yep.
They paid Derek Barnes.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. Right?
I mean, yeah.
So you would have to assume usually you get like a certain number of big contracts, and then you can be in a position to kind of phase out big contracts and bring new big contracts in, and then like you're balancing your short-term and long-term cash over cap and balance and stuff like that. But like Detroit's paid all these guys in the last. This is the downside to drafting by volume and having a large influx, right?
And being good at it. Yeah.
And being good at it is, and now you got a problem every general manager wants to have.
Yeah.
But you got to pick the right guys. And Gibbs is coming along a little later in the pecking order. Did we mention Laporta? Like they have to figure out.
I said Laporta like while you were talking because it hit me. I was like, let's make sure we get it out there.
So I don't envy that. I mean, that one might be play through the tag and then see where the team's at, right? Like,
but then you have that hard number, like.
But if they have everybody else on extensions, you can restructure and rework.
They're going to have to do that stuff, and they have cap space right now too,
right?
So they've got to be thinking about rollover cap. Detroit's entire equation. I'm looking it up right now. Detroit has $48 million in cap space right now.
What do they have for next year?
Well, now you're getting crazy. That's what I went to the NFL's PA daily.
That's okay. Here, I'll look at it now. In 2026, Detroit ranks 29th in the NFL in cap space, according to Spot Track, at minus $21.6 million.
Is it thinking about the $48 million rollover? Because they're going to probably roll over 35, 40 of that, you would think, right?
Right. To make you compliant, and then you'll restructure some of your big contracts that are no brainers, and you'll have plenty of operating space, but you're starting to get into that window where you have to make those kinds of considerations.
They're all good young players too. So
like Gibbs should realistically be a large. Did we mention Jameson Williams?
No, you gotta feel like that one's just not going to happen, right?
Well, and I know they had something with Alex Anzalone where he wanted an adjustment and they gave him like a $500,000 raise or something like that with some incentive money for this year, but that was it. And it's like, all right, Alex, enjoy playing somewhere else next year, right? Like, and then you have Miami, where I think the Miami one is the most interesting from the sense of what their offseason looked like this year. They gave everybody contract extensions in 24, and almost all of them went nuclear in a bad way. So they go this whole wire to wire. They finally get Zach Sealer on a 3-year deal. What does the team look like, depending on what the season plays out like? Achane will be eligible. His skill set's the most like James Cook, where I'm reading the practice reports, and first play a team ended in a sack. Devin Achane in pass protection. It's like, well, yeah. Don't use Devin Achane in pass protection, right? Like it's one of those things. He's prolific in so many ways. He's never going to be that player.
Yeah, don't ask him to be. It's just not part of the deal. Right?
I think he's better in the receiving game than James Cook is.
Mm-hmm.
But he's built similarly. He has not had 1,000 yards rushing to this point. So he has less production from like a rushing total than James Cook does. Now he had 8 yards a carry or whatever it was his rookie season on like 110 carries or whatever that number ended up being. That came back down as he had a more prolific role. That's the one that I think is probably the most complicated from a player evaluation standpoint. The Bijan Robinson one's a no-brainer. The Jahmyr Gibbs one is a no-brainer, but the team situation makes it a little bit complicated.
Right.
The Achane one, I think, is the one that's the most complicated, but it's the one that probably would behoove you the most to get done proactively.
How big of a difference do you think there will be? Let's say Gibbs and Robinson come in somewhere similar APY. Do you have a spitball? It's middle of August, the year before this becomes real, like where Achane belongs in this APY conversation? Do you look at, is Alvin Kamara somewhat the blueprint?
Yeah, I think so.
But of course, inflated 2 or 3 years later, you're probably like 14, 15, something like that.
So it's probably 15 would be where I would guess. And maybe you can play hardball with it and get him closer to 14. But I would assume with the cap perspective going up, you'd want probably marginally a little bit higher percentage of cap than the James Cook contract if you're the Achane representation. So, 14.5 would kind of be where I would slot it between the two ends of the spectrum for where I think this could end up.
Well, especially if he gets another healthy season. He's 17 games last year. Have another healthy season. I'm sure he'll be around 1,500 yards, double-digit touchdowns. I think that's most people's expectations for Devin Achane. But what I think excites me about Achane this year, it's not only that I think there's a reimagined run scheme, and I love the additions to the offensive line, but if they truly can get, whether it's Ollie Gordon or Jalen Wright, to take some of that off of Achane and allow him to be more optimized in the roles that he's best at, I think it can help the production. I think you can get even more out of him.
Yeah, I think so,
especially
too.
with Jonnu Smith not in this equation.
So,
like some of that goes to Achane in the passing game, I would think.
The challenge is, I think there's a certain workload rate that, like, if you exceed the workload rate, the efficiency of the touches is not going to be there. So that's what I think Miami has to balance, right? And like maybe that means a higher percentage of it in the passing game than as a runner. But I think if Devin Achane gets 220 carries this year, I'll be disappointed, right? Because you're seeking, I think, balance in your backfield, and that takes away from the touch opportunities that he has as a pass catcher, where he can be somebody that helps you create space and spacing the entire field beyond just lining up in the backfield.
If it doesn't work out in Miami this year, then of course you have to wonder about Achane and like how he fits into whatever the direction of the team would be. Because I feel like he's one of those, and that's probably something to be mindful of in the conversation. He is a player that you feel like is going to be to the most valuable to Miami with Mike McDaniel and that style of offense.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like if you were to say, hey, rest of the league, here's Devin Achane. Everybody loves explosive playmakers, but where's he really going to be optimized? I think it's there.
And that's kind of the same conversation that we had with James Cook, right? It's
100%,
like this is the perfect opportunity and the right skill players and the right quarterback and the right system and like the right offensive line with their like it all made sense.
Yes.
And I think James Cook accepting that is probably a good indicator of self-awareness when it came time to make the decision. And I would not be surprised if the Achane, because you don't want to be a back that's going into a contract year
and worried about your health,
play it and bet on yourself like that.
Yeah.
I got this on the table from the team that I've been really productive with. Probably makes sense. Cooler heads prevail, as they did in Buffalo.
One little dive at the knee, it gets dicey,
Right. Yeah, that's it. That's what we don't want. So that's going to do it for us here today on the show. Kyle Krabs, Jahmyr, we appreciate you guys as always for checking out the show. This is going to be a new daily tradition here. Get a little smelling salts action going to get us revved up for the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed. We are out of here. We'll be back again tomorrow. We hope to see you then.